Somewhere near you, there is a stretch of road with 3 car washes on it, maybe 4. New ones with tensioned fabric canopies and glowing menu boards and a little forest of vacuum hoses out front. They sit a few hundred yards apart, selling the same thing to the same cars at roughly the same price. It looks like a mistake, the kind of oversupply that should put at least one of them out of business by Christmas. It is not a mistake. Over the last few years, one of the most boring businesses in America, washing cars, quietly turned into something Wall Street fought to own. Private equity firms poured in billions of dollars. A single chain crossed $1 billion in annual revenue. And the reason has almost nothing to do with clean cars. To understand why this is strange, you have to remember what a car wash used to be. The old model was about as good as a lemonade stand. A customer pulls up, pays for a single wash, and leaves. Maybe they come back next month. Maybe they don't. Your revenue depends on the weather, the season, and whether anyone happens to feel like a clean car that day. A stretch of rain and your sales fall off a cliff. A cold snap and nobody comes at all. And the old full-service wash was a people business, a crew wiping down cars by hand, which is slow, expensive, and almost impossible to scale. By the standards of a serious investor, that's not a business. It's a coin flip with a pressure washer, run on thin margins and other people's elbow grease. So for car washes to become interesting to the kind of money that buys whole industries, 2 things had to change: how the customer paid and how the work got done. Over the last decade, both did. And here's the strange part: neither change made the wash itself any better. It just made the money better. Start with how you pay. The unlock was the monthly membership. Instead of paying every time, you pay a flat fee, usually somewhere between $20 and $40 a month, for unlimited washes. To you, it feels like a convenience, and maybe a small flex. To the business, it is something far more valuable. It converts a coin flip into a contract. Look at what that does to the numbers. Take a single site with 2,000 members paying $35 a month. That's $70,000 landing every month before a single one-off customer pulls in. About $840,000 a year of recurring predictable revenue. And this is not a hypothetical. Mr. Car Wash, the largest chain in the country, now earns roughly 74% of its wash sales from its unlimited wash club. Once someone joins, they almost never leave. Monthly churn runs around 5% and falls to near zero after that. Now, you might know that gyms make their money the opposite way, selling memberships to people who feel guilty and never show up. Car washes are the mirror image. Their members actually do turn up 2 to 4 times a month, far more than a paper wash customer ever would. That sounds like it should bleed the company dry. It does the opposite. And to see why, you have to look at what a single wash actually costs. A modern express wash is not a service business, it's a factory. You pull onto a conveyor, it tugs your car through a tunnel of brushes and jets, and a couple of minutes later, you roll out the far end and vacuum the car yourself, for free, on their equipment. That tunnel can push 50 to 60 cars an hour, 5 to 10 times what an old single-bay automatic managed. And here's the number that makes the whole model sing. Once the tunnel is built and running, the cost of washing one more car is around $1.50. Water, chemicals, electricity. That's it. So a member paying $35 who washes 3 times a month costs the business maybe $4 or $5 to serve. They could come 20 times and still be profitable. That's the trick the membership hides. A near zero marginal cost meeting a near fixed monthly check. Building the factory isn't cheap. A new express site, land and equipment included, can run several $1 million. But once it's up, the economics flip hard in the owner's favor. Stack the full cost structure of a well-run site. Very roughly 15% for chemicals and utilities, 15% for labor, 20% for rent and overhead. And you're left with an operating margin north of 40%. A strong single location does anywhere from $700,000 to over $2 million a year in sales. Mr. across its whole chain runs around a 30% operating margin on more than $1 billion of revenue. Those are not car wash numbers. Those are software numbers with a drain in the floor. Now layer in the thing that's easy to miss, the dirt under the building. A car wash needs a very specific kind of site, a corner lot on a busy road with an easy in and an easy out, ideally near the gas stations and drive-thrus where cars already are. That is also some of the most valuable small commercial real estate there is. So an investor buying a car wash is really buying two assets stacked on top of each other, a high-margin machine and a piece of appreciating land. And here's the clever move the professionals use. Once the wash is running, you can sell the land underneath it to a separate property investor, a fund that just wants a steady rent check for the next 20 years, and then lease it straight back. You walk away with most of your original cash returned, you keep operating the wash exactly as before, and you've split one building into two separate investments. The business for you, the rent for them. The wash pays the bills, the land was the second, quieter fortune hiding inside the first. Put those pieces together and you can see exactly what an investor sees. Recurring subscription revenue, a near zero marginal cost, operating margins north of 40%, appreciating land you can sell and lease back, and demand that never really goes away because cars keep getting dirty whether the economy is booming or not. That is the precise profile private equity dreams about. Boring, predictable, repeatable. And then there's the bit of financial alchemy that turned a trickle of money into a flood. A single independent car wash, owned by one family, sells for a fairly low multiple of its profits. It's small, and a buyer sees risk. But bolt 100 of those washes together into one national chain, with a single brand and a single membership app, and that combined company is suddenly worth a much higher multiple of the very same earnings. You can buy small and cheap, stitch the pieces together, and the whole becomes worth far more than the sum of its parts, often using borrowed money to do it. That is the engine of a roll-up, and it is exactly what played out. Over the last few years, private equity money flooded the sector and folded thousands of independent washes into national chains. In just the first half of 2024, one acquirer, Whistle Express, accounted for something like 43% of all car wash deals. The boring corner business had become a Wall Street consolidation play. But here's the thing about a formula this good. The moment everyone can see it, everyone builds it. That is how you end up with 3 washes on one corner. And when memberships are your entire model, too many washes chasing the same drivers is genuinely dangerous, because a subscription only holds while the customer feels they're getting their money's worth. And the day a shinier wash opens across the street, your members can cancel with 2 taps and drive over to it. Build too many, too close, and you don't grow the market. You just split it, and everyone's membership base starts to thin at once. By 2025, the questions had turned. Industry analysts were openly asking whether too much private equity money had overbuilt the sector, whether the golden goose, in their words, had been cooked. And the clearest signal came from the very top. Mr. Car Wash had gone public on the stock market in 2021, the proud face of the whole boom. And then, in 2025, it agreed to go private again, bought out by the private equity firm GTCR at a premium to its share price. The official explanation was that a slow, capital-heavy build-it-out business was simply a poor fit for the quarter-by-quarter scrutiny of public markets. Read it another way, and the smartest money in the room had decided the next harder chapter. The shakeout, the closures, the survival of the best-located sites was better written away from the cameras. So, is a car wash a money machine? The honest answer is, only the right one. The same model that mints cash on a busy corner with 5,000 loyal members becomes a money pit on a quiet road with a rival 2 minutes away. Location, traffic, and how many of those drivers you can lock into a membership. That is the whole game, and it is why one wash quietly prints money while the one down the road quietly drowns. But step back, and the bigger lesson isn't really about cars at all. What changed over the last decade was never the wash. It was the discovery that if you take a boring, repeatable service, wrap it in a subscription, automate the cost out of it, and sit it on appreciating land, you can turn pocket change into a predictable, compounding, institutional-grade asset. And that exact recipe is being run right now on a dozen other ordinary businesses you drive past every day. The laundromat, the storage unit, the gym, the trampoline park. Once you can see the membership, the marginal cost, and the land underneath, you start to see the machine everywhere. And we are going to take them apart, one boring corner at a time. The next one's already dirty,